Well, hi, everyone. I'm so thrilled that you're all here. And I wanted to tell you how much I love this community of One Spirit. My niece, actually, Isabella Huffington, studied in your program for 1 year and absolutely loved it. And I got to know some of the people, and it so connects with my message because for me, I was raised in Athens, Greece, by an incredible mother who always said, I'm not religious, I am spiritual. And to her, her spirituality was beyond denomination. When I was a young girl, we would go to church for weddings, Easter, and funerals. But the rest, she always said, our church is our home. And she had this way about her where she always felt when we were all gathered together and she would cook and share food and love and community, that truly the community was what she called the human communion. So tonight, as we are gathered together, I wanted to share a little bit about my journey and to tell you how I have found myself and I found my love and my heart and my connection to spirit. And I also would love to hear from all of you. And we will do a guided meditation as well. But I wrote this book on speaking with spirit, 52 prayers to guide, inspire, and uplift you during the pandemic, when I was feeling very bereft and very lonely and kind of exiled from life. And I was missing my friends, and I was missing being with people and eating with people and communing with people. And I had to write this book. So in writing the prayers and in writing and communing with spirit, I felt a deeper connection with myself. And I felt I healed part of myself that felt disconnected and alone. So I'm sharing it with you today as I share my journey and my heart to really realize that we are always connected. And we as human beings, we lose the awareness of our connection, but the connection is always there. So for me, my journey started in Athens, Greece, and then I went to London. I studied at the Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts. And then I came to Los Angeles to do a movie. And the movie didn't work out. And then I embarked in my own spiritual journey. I was 23, and I didn't really believe in God or anything. I was just this girl who wanted to be an actress and wasn't getting the parts that I wanted. So spirit for me became a way to just really understand what was life about. And I was reading an amazing book, which I highly recommend, called The Autobiography of a Yogi. And I see Heather shaking her head. And it is Paramahansa Yogananda, actually, is the teacher. And he's a very extraordinary human being and a God being. So I still read it and inspired by him. And as I was reading the book, I fell asleep on the book, and I fell asleep with my clothes on. And about 5 to 5:30 in the morning, the light from my hotel window came in and woke me up, and I was rattled, like I woke up like that, and I suddenly felt an inner light, and I fell on my knees. I'll never forget it. I fell on weeping and saying, I remember, I know I'm a child of God. And I wrote on my diary, I believe, I know Io credo. And from that moment on, my spiritual conscious journey as a soul on this human body embarked and started. And I asked for a teacher, and I met my teacher, John Roger, and I started my path of the spiritual awakening. I did hours of seminars. I did the University of Santa Monica, spiritual psychology. I did retreats, meditations, reading books, studying books, taking classes. And it became a path of awakening. And many, many times in my life, I felt, well, I'm awakening spiritually, but I don't really know what to do in my life, in my work, because I still was not getting the acting jobs or the parts that I wanted. So I say this because I feel for all of us, and I consider you part of my spiritual community, although I don't know all of you, is that for us who crave more of spirit, for us who crave more of God, we also then trying to find how do we integrate that in our physical world? How do we then serve? How do we then express ourselves? How do we become connected to our spirit, but also connected to the work we are supposed to do in the world? And some people are very clear about it. They go, I'm going to be a nurse. I'm going to be, I'm going to start my own business. I am going to go assist somebody at their job. I'm going to open a restaurant. I'm going to be a yoga teacher. I'm going to be a minister at a hospital. And you know, some of us find it and it locks in and it connects. And some of us, and I don't know if anybody here experiences that, struggles with that. Well, I was the person who struggled with that. And why I struggled with it is because my soul's journey and my soul's path was to completely own my heart. My gift in my life and my work in this world as Agapi Stassinopoulos, the girl from Athens, Greece, who became awakened into her soul, was to really share agape. And I take a pause there, because that to me was profound, that I wasn't here to be the successful actress on Broadway and Hollywood, that I wasn't here to be the well-known producer. I was here to discover this heart and open up my heart. And when I embarked on the path, my heart was like a pea. It was a little bit of a heart. It had a lot of pain. It had a lot of insecurities. It had a lot of self-doubt. And through my studying and through the love of my spiritual teacher, John Roger, and the community, my heart started to open up and open up. And the more my heart opened up, the more I embraced agape. And the more I embraced agape, the more I embraced everybody, because then I felt I was one heart. So when I look at you today, and I look at Heather and Betsy and Georgia and Mimi and Elizabeth and Franny and Lori and Reverend Susie and Elaine and Michael and Sunday and Mary and Anama and German, I hope I didn't miss anybody. I can look at your faces and the separation, and I don't know if I said Natalie and Elizabeth, but then I go into my heart and I'm going, this is just part of the heart. So there is no separation. So if I sat and talked to each one of you, or if we're in person, I would totally feel the oneness. So I started to speak and write and share my journey. And people would say to me, how can you be so vulnerable and so authentic and so not be scared or afraid? And I said, why would I be scared? My heart is speaking to your heart. Because the heart knows. And then I found my calling. And my calling was the unbound heart. And I wrote a book called, I wrote the goddesses books, and I wrote mythology books, and everything I did in my life. And you can read it. You can go on my website and see wakeuptothejoyofyou.com. I have all my books there, and then you can read my first book, Unbinding the Heart, because I had an absolute experience of where in the seminar with John Roger, as my spiritual teacher, was helping people release the baggage of the karma of the lifetimes that people were locked in, and people would get free and their spirits would get free. And I was in the room with 40 people, and I sat there and I saw spirits and souls getting free, and I went, oh my God, oh my God. We are all in some kind of a bondage of the physical, emotional, mental, material existence. And these souls want freedom. They want love. They want to be hugged. They want to be recognized. Our light wants to be seen, known, shared. I sat down and cried and said, my heart unbound. And I wrote my story, Unbinding the Heart. And I started to speak into thousands of people in conferences and get up and tell my journey and make people laugh and make people cry. And I had everybody come into my arms and fall in my arms and cry and said, oh my God, my heart opened up. Oh my God, my pain released. Oh my God, I just realized that I'm enough. I'm enough. I don't have to write a book. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to save anybody. I don't have to fix anybody. I'm free. And so I started every conference saying to people, turn next to somebody and say, my name is Agapi and I'm free. And if I saw you here and we are in person, I would say to you, my name is German. You would say to me, and I'm free. And I say, your name is German and you're free. And I would look at you and say, your name is Franny and you're free. And all I did is reinforce that despite the suffering of this world, despite the suffering of human beings, despite our own karmic bondage, the spirit is free. So every morning, I want you to get up and look at yourself in the mirror and look at that loving being and say, I am free. I'm free to love. I'm free to express. I'm free to feel jealous. I'm free to feel unhappy, but I'm free. Whatever I'm feeling, I'm free. And you know why we're free? Because you say, I am not going to judge myself about anything. I mean, I look at my messy desk and I am this wonderful human being who has written this wonderful work, who has people who love me and I love, and I look at my messy desk that I cannot clean it up and I go, so what? I have a messy desk and it's packed up and I don't have the energy to clean it up. I don't like cleaning it. You know what I mean? It's like the human condition. And you can look at clothes and say, oh my God, I've had this clothes for 6 years. I never wear it, but I'm not going to give it away because I want it. And so I wrote this book during the pandemic. I was terribly unhappy because, as you can tell, I'm an extrovert. I'm a Greek extrovert, which makes me triple extrovert. And I missed my friends and I missed breaking bread with people, and I couldn't see anybody and I couldn't interact with anybody. And I got tired of Zooms and I got tired of FaceTimes, and I would call my friends. And so I went and talked to God. I hope it's okay, but I'm very moved. And on chapter 10, I No, no, it's not that one. It's chapter 7, page 37, Finding the Extraordinary in the Ordinary. It's an amazing chapter. I love that chapter so much. And I hope you'll all get a copy of this book and keep it by your bedside, because it has my heart and my soul in it. Elaine knows, right, Elaine? My beautiful Elaine, my friend. So chapter 7, 37. There's a great movie I want you all to see, and it's called The Chariots of Fire. Do you know that movie? And in it, there is a great athlete. And the athlete, Eric Liddell, is also a missionary. And he runs, and he loves to run, you know, that's his thing. And his sister says to him, Eric, you should stop this silly hobby of yours, running and being an athlete. You're here to do God's work, to be a missionary. And he says, but when I run, I feel his pleasure. And so for me, feeling his pleasure was speaking and being with people. And sadly, during the pandemic, I was bereft. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't have my audience. And so I wrote this prayer, and every prayer that I read in this book, there are 52 prayers, is talking to God like your best friend and saying, dear beloved, and I'm talking to all of you because we're all beloved. The beloved in me recognizes the beloved in you, and everybody's a beloved. We're beloved in God. So I wrote these letters, which were like my ways of expressing. And I encourage you all to write your prayers daily, talk to God, have the conversation, open it up. Don't save it for special occasions. Your humanness must meet your divinity, and the bridge is prayer. One of the greatest joys in my life is feeling your presence as I connect with others by speaking, inviting other people to participate in my heart's expansion. Recently, I've been feeling the absence of my connection with you, and I feel I'm lacking in that magic from which I converge with my spirit. I'm talking to spirit and saying, I miss you, I feel bereft. I ask now that I may find new ways to engage, move my body, be present in the miracle of my life, and awaken to the aliveness that I have in me. And as you know, in the daily life, it's not easy to always find that spirit. That's why we have each other. That's why we have books, and that's why we have prayer and meditations to connect daily. I ask that I may remove the resistance, limitation, and stubbornness of wanting things to be a certain way. So myself is talking to myself, to my higher self. When things don't happen that way, I cave in, I shut down, I blame you, God, the world, and myself, and then fall into my doom. And let me just say, to me, God is whatever word connects with you. You know, God is a state of being. It's not a being. It's not a big blob guy with a white beard and a toga in the sky. It's a consciousness. But that consciousness is really there with us right now as we're speaking. It's the God in Georgia, and it's the God in Mimi, and it's the God in Mary, and it's the God in German and Franny. It's that spirit in God that's connecting us all right now. So, and it's 24/7, you know, it's like the spirit is breathing us all the time. So our job as human beings is to turn to that, find it, anchor it to the best. And the way you anchor it is through prayer, through meditation, but through expressing of your humanness. That's what I realized. It's like, we're all very specific human beings, and we cannot do a spiritual bypass and say, well, now I'm spiritual, and now I am a minister, or now I'm a reverend, but I have a humanness. And my humanness has likes and dislikes and feelings and thoughts. And all that is part of the wholeness. For whatever reason, my ego and my sense of self move into righteous indignation. And God forbid I might miss the awe that I so seek in the simplest of things. And now Spirit is speaking to me. The trees still grow upward, and I'm able to walk on this earth through the law of gravity. And even that is a miracle. The earth still moves around the sun in perfect motion. And how amazing is that? There are invisible words of millions of stars and planets that are all moving in perfect relation to one another, and they don't seem to collide. The ocean meets the shore in perfect rhythm, even when it's turbulent and stormy. Let me wrap my mind around all of that and know that I too have perfect harmony within me. So be it. So what happened during these prayers and the stories is that I would lift myself through the Spirit. So the Spirit would speak to me, and in the middle of my isolation and feeling exiled, the Spirit moved and said, come to me, I will comfort you. So through this book was a gift to me. I got closer to the Spirit. So now, how do I use it? I speak to Spirit all the time. So when I'm down or I'm upset or I'm disconnected from myself, I go, Spirit, where do I turn? Sometimes I turn to a friend. Last night I did a beautiful Zoom for 35 people, and I was kind of afterwards, I needed to walk. It's very hot in New York. I went out and called my friend Elaine, and we talked for an hour on the phone because I too needed a friend to talk to and to laugh and to share. So, you know, we need each other, my friends. So it's like people say, we'll reach out to God. Well, we are God. We're God to each other. You know, God is, you don't see it, you don't touch it. The Spirit is in here, but it is through each other that we recognize the Spirit. So you who are in this path, somebody can come, and if you have that space of presence, you can hold their hands, look into their eyes, and they can be healed. Like I feel Georgia's love as she's looking at me through this little Zoom. I feel her loving. I feel her presence because we are transparent, my friends. You can sit in a room, in a meeting, say nothing, and just say, God bless you, I love you. God bless you, I love you. You can go on the subway and say, God bless you, I love you. God bless you, I love you. God bless you, I love you. When I'm disturbed, I put my hands in my heart and I say, God bless me, I love me. God bless me, I love me. God bless me, I love me. And the heart opens up. We are the nectar. We are the sweetness. And have that intimacy with yourself. And when you don't have it, ask for it all the time. So there's a lot of beautiful prayers here, but I read you my first inscription. And did you get what you wanted from this life? Even so, I did. And what did you want? To call myself beloved, to feel myself beloved on this earth. So Raymond Carver. So that's what we all really, really want, to know that we are beloved. So the more you know your belovedness, the more you, as ministers of the light, you can go to any space and remind people, no matter how they're going through what, they're still beloved. And that to me is the true ministry of your ministry, to remind each other that we are all beloveds in the Spirit. So let me open it up before we do the meditation, and let me hear from you. Anything you want to share from what I've been sharing here, anything from your journey. Heather, you want to say something? I'm calling on you. Heather Diddell, right?
Oh, you're one of the few people who says it right the first time. I'm usually Heather Diddle to the world. Yes, Heather Diddell.
And where are you?
So I'm actually from New York City, but I'm right now in Philly, helping to take care of my granddaughter. And our air conditioner broke today. So I'm really in Philly.
God bless you. Lie to your air conditioner. God.
It's actually fine. So I just want to say, Agape, I love your story. And I came tonight because I was feeling cold.
Mhm.
I too have walked the path of the heart, and I was given a medicine named Blazing Heart.
Mm.
And that is my life path. And just recently, my blazing heart has felt a little bit like cooled down heart.
Mhm.
So it feels like this is the perfect place to come to plug into tonight.
That's beautiful. Do you dance?
I do, but in my bedroom.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, do you dance with your granddaughter?
I do, and by myself.
Because I see you as a whirling dervish.
I like that.
I see you could play the whirling dervish videos, you know. And do you read Rumi, Kabir, Hafiz, the mystic poets?
Yes, all of them. Yeah.
So I would suggest at night, don't go to sleep without reading loud to yourself. Rumi. I read Rumi every night. I read it loud. And then I read it loud to read it to Heather, because I think Heather, your Heather's beautiful girl that you are, because you needs more tenderness from you, more loving from you. So, you know, it's more like, I think the heart gets cold when we don't receive. We need to receive. And you are a giver. And now we're just going to pray that in this session, and then we do the meditation, you open up your heart to receive from your beauty and your love, and to fill your cup again.
Thank you. And thank you for calling on me, because I wouldn't have raised my hand. So thank you.
You have so much to share. So don't ever get shy about sharing. If you're in a group of people, you must speak because you have a lot to say.
Thank you.
So I just really want to support you in that expression.
Thank you. So Agape, tonight I will do some whirling and some Rumi. Thank you.
Rumi, exactly. Real Rumi loud. That'd be beautiful. How about Georgia, the beautiful Georgia? Where are you, sweet? Are you Greek?
I'm not. I feel like I'm actually French and English and Irish and a little bit of Native American.
And are you studying with to become a minister?
In general or in here? Or in
here, with One Spirit.
This is actually the first time I've heard of One Spirit, was actually from you.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And are you in New York?
No, ma'am. I'm actually, right now, I'm temporarily in Texas, and I temporarily moved here more in an isolation state to basically, and I kind of went over this a little bit with you. I used to live out in LA for about 6 years, and I was also pursuing acting, and I ended up really losing myself, and at the same time my spirit started opening up, and it got really confusing for me. I did have a spiritual awakening, and at the same time there was a part of me that was really resisting it, that was really still attached to my ego and the trauma and the old beliefs that I carried throughout my childhood. And it ended up reflecting in all of my external world and my external relationships through the bad relationship with myself. And I had a really big wake-up call towards the end of 2020. And I knew that I needed to start taking care of myself, taking care of my spirit, reconnecting with myself and my spirit. And because I didn't realize how not only was it affecting my external reality and my relationships with people in certain circumstances and opportunities, but it even started manifesting as physical ailments in my body. And I knew that I couldn't keep living the way that I was living, and because I was very stubborn with fighting my spirit. And I ended up getting out of a relationship that wasn't probably the best. And I ended up moving here because God really spoke to me and spoke to my heart that I needed time to myself to heal and to get to know Georgia and to reconnect with my spirit. And it has been a journey. It has been lonely at times, but within the loneliness, I have found the best friend in myself and the best friend in spirit, because and that has been the most valuable gift that I have given myself within this past year. And yeah, I guess that's a little short summary.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing. I mean, we all feel your beautiful heart and your beautiful soul. And I know I do, right? Everybody raise their hands if they feel her beauty and her struggles. I mean, we all feel your journey, and we all sending big love to you right now. And I wanted to say that, and I want to say this for everybody, please stay in touch with me. My email is agapi, AGAPI, at unbindingtheheart.com and unbindingtheheart.com. And I send out as a gift some of my meditations that are very soothing, but I also will invite you to many other events that I do, so you can feel even more the love and the spirit, and connect. And I have a poem here. I'm not going to read it now, but when you get the book, hopefully on page 108, it says "Coming Home." It's about how I've always struggled with loneliness, and some part of me just really opened up to me to say, bring all of you home. Yes, if you can, somebody can put Agapi's email into the chat. Maybe Elaine, you're good at that, right? Agapi at unbindingtheheart.com. And I'll invite you to more things. And also I'm going to be sending out, I follow the University of Santa Monica teachings, and I'm going to send you, Georgia, a link to a class that's called Loyalty to Your Soul. It's 3 days, beginning of September. I highly recommend this course. I mean, the whole course is amazing, but for me, when I embarked in doing the University of Santa Monica and this course, which I'll send it to you, it's 3 days, Loyalty to Your Soul. The difference was between walking in a wobbly ground, not feeling my foot in the ground, and suddenly the foundation got steady. So the experience that I have now, and this is why I have such passion to teach this work, is because I worked the insecure, self-doubt, uncertain path for a very, very long time. And then, imagine that the planks on your floor get steady. And so I wake up every morning and I am connected to Agapi. And I might feel, I had a terrible dream and I don't feel good. And, I don't feel, the usual emotional things, but pretty much I can go find me. And that's been a lot of inner work. And it will be my joy to share some of those tips that and some of these classes that I took to get me really back to my horse, to get back on the horse and to feel like I'm riding my life now, So thank you for joining, sweetheart. Thank you. You're a beautiful girl, beautiful, and sending you so much light. I think they just muted you. David, I think you just muted Georgia, or did you mute?
I just want to say, Agapi, thank you so much. And thank you for everybody who's here. I actually first heard Agapi on Louis House's podcast and hearing your voice and hearing I felt your spirit and your heart so deep within my heart and my soul. And you are just such a beautiful woman and a beautiful soul. And the teachings that you have in this world, they are life-changing. And I'm very blessed. I'm very grateful that everything aligned. And I just thank you so much for blessing all of us with your beautiful soul and your work and your presence.
Thank you so much for saying that, because for me, that is my joy now I feel like as if I went through everything myself, and as you read this book, you'll see story upon story of disappointments, of not finding myself, of working very hard at a project, and then the project doesn't succeed at all. And somebody from London said to me, chapter 28 in your book saved my life, because I was destroyed, that my career failed. And I told my story of how my PBS special that it took me 1 year was a flop. And that one person sent me an email one day that said, I was randomly going through PBS and I saw your goddesses came up. I was lying in bed with extreme pain with endometriosis, and your words gave me more comfort than 2 years of painkillers. I went out and got a red dress for Aphrodite, my inner Aphrodite, from the mall. And I sat and cried because I was feeling so bereft that my project that I dedicated so much time had failed. So what God was telling me is, you thought it failed, but it touched maybe 10 or 12 people. And that's what you were supposed to do. So, I then had to reframe success. And now other people are reading my story and going, oh my God, because I went bankrupt, I'm not a failure. It's just my experience. So you get free. Thank you for following your heart. Thank you for following. And as I said, send me an email and I will send you about the loyalty of your soul. And it will be my pleasure to share with you some of the teachings that have come to help me on my path.
I would love that. Thank you so much, Agapi.
God bless you, darling. Tonight you're going to sleep so beautifully.
Thank you so much. I know I will.
Then you just go and love Georgia a lot and let God love you. Okay, I wanted to hear from one man at least. Bill, do you feel like sharing something with us?
Sure. Hi there, everybody.
Hi, Bill. Where are you?
I'm in Newtown, Connecticut.
Nice.
Yes, it's hot here, like probably a lot of places.
Are you part of One Spirit by any chance?
I am. I'm an interfaith minister. I graduated a little over a year ago.
Wonderful.
And I do 2 worship services a month at a retreat center here that I live at. So I'm pretty blessed to be able to have that. And I feel it every day. But I do have a question for you. You're talking about, God as consciousness and not the guy upstairs with the toga. I totally, get that and believe that. But it also sometimes makes it challenging to have that personal conversation when it's just a consciousness and energy and not the guy in a toga.
Right.
So I wanted to ask you about that, like how to sort of reconcile that when you have a personal connection, but yet it's not, at the same time, it's not personal.
Absolutely. It's really there's a beautiful discourse that my spiritual teacher wrote. It's called the impersonal personal self, the personal self and the impersonal self. And it's true that in the consciousness of God, it's impersonal. It's like it doesn't really it's not really a respecter of the humanness. Let's put it, if that makes any sense. So just before my book came out in January and December, I got shingles on my right eye, which was terribly painful, and my eye was swollen, and I got very stressed. It was Christmas, it was COVID, it was my book coming out, and I felt very human, very vulnerable. I felt I was on my knees praying for mercy to not, because I was so uncomfortable, you know, the pain of shingles in the eyes, you can imagine. And I started to truly pray from the depths of my heart as the agape humanist. I was clearing some karma, obviously, some old self, and I felt as if my ego was really dissolving and being humbled. And I started to feel truly the consciousness of love, that there was this consciousness, which we call God, which is a loving being, the divine being, the benevolent being, just loving me. And it was the agapiness, what I call of the suffering, and the divinity was right there caressing me. So to me, that's and it wasn't a being, it was a consciousness, it was love. And I'm sure, you know, Bill, you have felt love, I'm sure, and you feel it from the people you minister to, or you feel it from your family. But it's like you can't pinpoint, but you say, I feel the love. And that to me is my God. I don't know, and I don't have the words. And sometimes I pray and I say, Lord, or light, help me. And I'm going, where is this light that you're asking? I mean, I question it, you know, and I say, light, love, or I close my eyes and I go, help me right now. And I said, I don't even know who I'm asking. So it's not like I don't have the manual of what is God, because God knows, but I have a sense of it.
Yeah, well, there is no manual. As soon as you have a manual, you lose it, right? So
Exactly. So I don't know if that makes sense to
yeah,
you, but that to me is what, that suddenly God is that. But no, and I sometimes I feel, God, I wish I really knew that God more intimately. But I know there's also spiritual beings that work with us. It's not just the consciousness, but it's vast. When you go into the inner levels, or I'll feel an angel come in and help me, or I'll feel the Christed energy come in, you know, and I feel the Christ has come in, and I will see the beingness. So that's part of God. Or maybe I'll see a child, or maybe I'll see my mother who passed away 22 years ago, and I'll see her light coming to help me. So that's part of God.
right.
So then everything is part of God, you know.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I look up in the sun and I'm going, wow, well, that's God too. That's different levels of consciousness. And it's all such a miraculous thing, isn't it, Bill?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So God is, yeah, but then you also have a personal relationship with the impersonal, and that's to me, that's the prayer. There was a priest who was in a monastery, a monk, and he was going around and saying, God, what can I do to help you? Can I feed the poor? Can I work with the lepers? Can I plant more trees? And he was walking around asking God, what can he do to be more of service? And he heard his inner voice say, shut up and let me love you. And I think for all of us who are also givers and doers, we have to sometimes shut up and say, I just want to feel God's love right now, wherever that is, and close our eyes and just do that. And why don't we? Thank you so much, Bill, for your sharing. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you.
And let's just close our eyes. We have a few moments. And before we start the music and the meditation, just a reminder, I think Elaine put the chat, right, Elaine? Put the chat, my name, and yes, thank you for putting University of Santa Monica. And that it is Agapi at bindingtheheart.com. I'm just looking here. You can look at my website and I will send you all my meditations. And just close our eyes and David will play a little music and just relax your shoulders and relax your whole being. And right now, come into the presence of your heart. And feel your breath, and with every breath, receive the love. You might want to put your hand in your heart and your other hand in your belly. And allow your heart to soften. Beyond space and time, let us come into a moment of timelessness. It's like tuning in divine energy that lives and connects with all of us. And feel your breath like a breeze. And as you inhale, feel more loving coming in, more sweetness, more gratitude. And relax your shoulders, relax your jaw. You might want to touch your jaw because often we fold back. I think. Just inside of you, have a mantra that says, I receive. I allow myself to receive love, is laughter, joy, presence. Whatever it is you would like more of in your life, ask for it now. If there's anything that you can let go of, any judgment, any fears, any worries, letting go of the unknown, letting go of the uncertainty. Just feel a light, any color. You would like a white light, a blue light, yellow light, pink light. Feel this light bathing you, embracing you. Way down to your feet. Breath in your lungs, with the breath in your belly. Feel the breath in your spine, your amazing spine. Feel the breath in your vessels, in your bones, this miraculous body. It feels are in the center of your heart. Are entering your heart. All of you is part of your heart. Your heart is you. Feel the energy of your heart anchoring all the way to the feet. All around you, there is a vortex of heartfelt energy. And this energy place your wishes, your upcoming projects, your family, health, children, grandchildren, your finances, your home, everything, pets, everything is in this vortex of life. Now, all together in this beautiful energy, let us send this vortex of love and light into the world. The world, into our planet Earth that needs it so much, to the places of Ukraine and Russia that there is the war and the suffering. Let's just see this light just going there. Let the light do what it does. Let us issue a prayer that we, from this moment on, we will commit more to become joyful, more uplifting, more connected, more light-filled emissary of goodness, serving ourselves, listening to ourselves, and serving each other. And when you see the news on television or read them, immediately send a light, a wave of light, the hugest wave of light, going, touching people in the country who need it, all around the planet. Just say to yourself, thank you. Thank you. Thank you to yourself for your good work, for your presence today, here. Thank you for your life. And if we just, with nothing else, go around in a day saying thank you for everything and everything. Thank you. And lived in gratitude, our life would be in paradise. We are so blessed. Feel the goodness of your breath. How amazing it is that we are being breathed, all of us. Feel the goodness of your breath. And very gently rub your hands together. The heat. Give yourself some love. Tap your face, massage your forehead, massage the temples, the jaw. Gently caress the face. Out. Face. Touch your heart. Anchor this energy here. Exhale. Gently relax your shoulders. Let's become present in this room. Again, maintaining energy that we created and this light. And as you go about your night, bring that heart with you. Write your prayers, Speak your prayers, dance your prayers, tell them you love them, and be there for each other as we share our light, our heart, and our love. And maybe, David, can you unmute us all so we can say hello and goodbye?
Thank you for this beautiful time. Okay.
Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Thank you, German.
Thank you,
Bye.
Agapi.
Thank you, Agapi. It was fabulous.
you.
I
Thank
love
you so much
you.
for being there. I love you.
Blessings, blessings.